All right, let's begin chapter 3. And in the beginning of chapter 3, as you will see, we are dealing with graphing in terms of the two variable. And in order for us to graph, this is the first thing we need to know is the definition, or is easy for us to communicate to each other. So we have this rectangular coordinate system, and the rectangular coordinate system is basically considered of an x coordinate and a y coordinate. And you all heard this ordinate pair, which is the ordinate pair is the x value and the y value. And your rectangular graphing coordinate plane, we will have a x-axis and the y-axis, which is your x-axis is your horizontal line, your y-axis is your vertical line, and wherever the two axes intersect, that is where we call an origin, which is the origin is basically 0, 0. And you all see this item. You don't have to copy this definition down. I will post this on Canvas for you guys. But again, it's just the terminology that if I say x-axis, you know what the x-axis is, which is in turn, this is your picture of your rectangular coordinate system, right? Your x-axis is your horizontal line here, which is, this is the x-axis. We start in the middle, which is 0. On the right of 0 is would be positive number. On the left of 0 is would be negative number. And your vertical line is your y-axis, which is above the 0 would be positive, below the 0 would be negative. Just below negative, left negative. And if you look at other, they tell you that because the two x and y intercept, we have 4 different regions. And this 4 different regions we call a quadrant, which is quadrant 1. They go counterclockwise, quadrant 1 here, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. And if you look at this thing here, they basically tell you if your x is positive and your y is positive, you are in quadrant 1. If your x is negative and your y is positive, you're in quadrant 2. If your x is negative, y is negative, you're in quadrant 3. And positive x and negative y, you're in quadrant 4. And in the center, this is your origin. Okay, so this is your typical rectangular coordinate system. Our goal in here is if we give you an ordinate pair, so this is your typical ordinate pair, can you take this ordinate pair and plug it in your rectangular coordinate system? And for me, this is what I tell you guys is just like your alphabet, the x come before a y. So your ordinate pair, whatever this number, this is your x axis, and this is your y axis or your y coordinate. Okay, so the first thing you always tell yourself is you either go left or right first, and then up or down. If we have a positive number, which is, do you see we have a positive 4, tell me from 0, I have to travel 4 start to the right. And then from 4, I do not stop there because it's tell me negative 2, which is, do you agree that 4 to the right and down 2, which is 4 comma negative 2. So my item here, they ask you is plug this ordinate pair 4, negative 2, which is 4, negative 2. And if you were to plug this point here, what quadrant is A belong in? Well, we can see that the quadrant that A belong in is quadrant 4. So that is the idea of this example here is we give you some ordinate pair, and ordinate pair just an x value and the y value. The x value tell you go to left or to the right, and the y value tell you go up or down. Just imagine you go watch a Sing game, right? You go to row 7, seat 8. You don't just go to the row 7 and stand on the aisle and block everyone. You have to go to your seat. So just imagine that the first item is your x-axis, that's your row. You walk to that place, and then your y tell you your seat, right? So negative 2, we can see negative 2, we travel to the left, negative 2, and we don't stay there because there's a negative 6. We go down, which is, do you agree that B is negative 2 to the left, and negative 6, we go down here, negative 2, 6. And again, the number is a little bit off the line, so you might confuse, but again, this is negative 1, this is negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, and negative 6. okay? And if they ask you what quadrant are we in, we can see that this is in a third quadrant or quadrant 3, because again, this item we have. And similarly, do you agree that 4, 2 is tell me go to the right 4 and up 2? 4, 2, we go to the right 4 and up 2. Again, we always go left or right first. Do not go up or down first. That's the careless mistake a lot of people do, is they go up 4 over 2. We go left or right and then up or down. Left or right, then up or down, which is what quadrant is C is in. Hopefully you guys see, very easy, C is in quadrant 1. And vice versa in D, where is -4, 0. -4 tell me to travel to the left 4 places, and 0 tell me to stay there. 0, this is where you stand on the aisle, right? 0 tell you stay put. So -4, 0 is on the axis. What axis is it on? It's on the x-axis. And lastly, 0, -4. 0 tell me stay in the center. -4 tell me go down, which is E. Do you agree that 0 stay at the origin? -4 go down, which is this is where E is at, and E will be on the y-axis. So hopefully you guys, this is not new. This is somewhat review for you guys, or a lot of you guys, in terms that all we do is we plug in the point into your coordinate system or your Cartesian plane, okay? So question so far with this item here in terms of where to identify your ordinate pair and how to identify your quadrant. Just reminder, your quadrant is counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, counterclockwise. Question. If you don't have question, the only other thing that they will ask you to do is, what if we give you the dot, we give you the point. Now we want you to identify us the location of that point, right? Longitude, and latitude for your, if you look at your map. But looking at this item, your X and Y, whenever you identify your ordinate pair, make sure you identify your X first and then your Y second. So my red dot, again, do you agree from 0, I have to go to -3 and then go up 2, which is the ordinate pair is -3 to the left and up 2. That is the idea, is basically ask yourself from the origin, where did you travel? If you go to the left, it's negative, go to the right, is positive, up is positive, and down is negative. So the yellow dot, do you agree that we go over to the right 2, which is +2, and we go up 4 line, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, this yellow dot, we have 2, 4. The careless mistake a lot of people do is they saw the 2, they saw the dot is closer to the Y, and they identify the 4, 2. Remember, you have to identify your X. X come before Y, okay? Similarly with the blue dot, do you agree that we stay at the origin? We stay at 0, and then we travel down 3, which is 0, -3. Agree? And the green dot, we go to the right 4 and we go down 2, which is hopefully all of you guys see that we have +4, -2. And lastly, we travel to the left -5 and down 3. So question on how to plug in your ordinate pair, or how to identify your ordinate pair if they give you the dot and you need to plug them back in. Question,
Mr. James. For the red dots, how do you determine if that's -3 or -4, since it's kind of right in the middle of the two?
No, it's basically it's on the line.
I see. It's closer to -3 though. Okay, I see.
This is -1 line, this is -2 line, this is -3 line, and this is a -4 line. So each line is 1.
Oh, I see. Okay, I was looking at the way that they're margin. Okay,
yeah.
I see.
So suppose I should give you a better graph, but this the number supposed to be on the line.
That's why I was getting confused by.
Yeah. I did not give you a good graph. I took this from the internet, and because they have a quadrant in it, and I just copy it out. But the number is supposed to be on the line.
Okay.
Yeah, on the line. So
Clarified it. Thank you.
yeah. So all of these numbers supposed to be on the line. Okay. Any other question here? Now, the last thing that we need to do in 3.1 is, what if they give you this equation and they ask you to find a missing value? Or basically they give you this equation and they ask you to find um, this item here. So how would we go about to find a missing value or complete the table? And as you can see, basically this is your one problem, this is two problem, this is three problem. Your goal is we need to find this missing value to plug into this table. So they give you they give you this equation, y equal to 3x minus 1, and they ask you to see if you can complete this table, which is the same as finding a missing value. And to find a missing value, let me eliminate the B and the C. We'll go back to that later. To find this item, your goal is basically ask you, for this value, what are they giving me? Do you see that they give us the Y value? And if they give us the Y value, all you need to do is plug in the Y value, because they give you the Y value is -4. All you need to do is plug in the Y value and solve for X. So they, as you can see, they only give you one value at the time. So your goal is just plug in whatever their value is. Make sure you plug in the right corresponding letter, and then just solve for the missing or for the leftover variable. So in this case, instead of write my y become a -4. I plug in -4, and now I can see that I need to get rid of to solve for x, I need to get rid of 1. And to get rid of 1, I need to add it to the other side to give me -3x, because -4 plus 1 is -3 equal to 3x. And just like before, how do you get rid of the 3? We need to divide, and if I divide, I see that my x is equal to -1. So I found that missing value. My missing value is -1. Everybody see where my -1 come from. And basically you have three problems. You have three evaluation problem. We did this, and again, your test that you're supposed to did have something like this. It's just that instead of give you one variable, they give you both variable. All you do is you plug it in and you simplify. Okay. So question on how I got this -1. Basically, I solve for x once I plug into the y value. And if you're looking for the second one, it's actually easier than it looks, because what do? We just plug it in. We have the same equation. The equation is the same, y equal to 3x minus 1. This thing will never change because we deal with this item. The only thing is we plug in, instead of the x, we plug in a 2. And why do I say this problem is easier? Because your y is by itself. We don't need to solve for y. Y is already by itself, which is 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 minus 1 is 5. Your y is by itself. You don't need to divide anything. That is your missing value. Y is equal to 5. And lastly, what do? We just plug in 0 for y. So the careless mistake that I know that my students do, the careless mistake that they do is they plug in the number for the wrong letter. Make sure that you plug into the right corresponding letter. And if I plug in 0 here, my problem is this: 0 equal to 3x minus 1. I know that I need to solve for x. And to solve for x, I need to add 1 to the side. And my new problem is 1 equal to 3x. And just like before, we need to divide it by 3. And if I divide by 3, my x is equal to 1/3. And again, for now, whatever the answer is, that will be your answer. Everybody see that we find a missing value. The white ink is your missing value. All you do is you plug in the X or black item into your equation. So first of all, question on where I find or how I find this 3 item here, the -1, the 5, and the 1/3. Basically, you plug into your original problem, the corresponding letter, and then solve for the unknown. So let's try B, right? Let's try B. And if you look at B, it's a little bit different. Let me eliminate the A and the C away. If you look at B, it's a little bit different. Why? Because your X and Y is on the same side. But it's not difficult, right? You're looking at this thing here, and for me, I like to do this to remind me what I'm looking for. If you want to, just draw a box with different color so that you know that this one here, you're looking for X, you have to solve for X. And this item down here, you're looking for Y, you have to solve for Y. Basically, just, put the item to know that that's what you're looking for. So now, for the first problem, do you agree that I plug in 4 in for the Y? And if I plug in 4 in for Y, this is your easy problem, ladies and gentlemen. Your easy problem is 4x minus 4 equal to 8. How do you get rid of that negative 4? Well, if negative 4 on one side, we need to add it. And if I add it, I have 4x equal to 12. I know I need to divide by 4. By now, hopefully you are expert at solving this simple equation, right? You either add or subtract first, and then you divide or multiply. In this case, we divide, and 12 divided by 4x is equal to 3. We got our missing value. Our ordinary pair is 3, 4. Question with the first item, how I got the 3. And if you plug in -1, make sure, this is the careless mistake a lot of students do, is they forgot to plug in a -1. They just plug in 1. The problem is minus, and the value you plug in is negative, which is negative, and a negative, that will give you a positive 1. Double negative will give you a positive. In this case, hopefully you say, Mr. Tran, I got this. I can solve this problem. All I need to do is subtract 1 to both sides and divide it by 4, and you are correct, right? To get rid of positive 1, we need to subtract. And if I subtract 8, subtract 1 is 7. How do I get rid of multiplication? I need to divide. And if I divide it by 4 on both sides, my answer is 7/4. Again, for now, doesn't matter if you want to give me a decimal, go ahead, it's fine. If you want to give me a fraction, it's fine. Again, the decimal here will be 1.75, right? If you divide this thing here, you will get 1.75. But again, question here in terms of how I find the 3 for the x, how do I find 7/4 for the second value? And lastly, what do I plug in? I have to plug in 0 in for the x. And if I plug in 0 in for the x, what do I have? 4 times 0. Do you agree that 4 times 0 is 0? 4 times 0 is 0, which is I have negative y equal to 8. And when I have negative y equal to 8, how do I get rid of this negative? How do I get rid of this negative? I need to divide by a negative. And basically, if you divide it by a negative, 8 divided by negative, you will get a -8. So your answer is y equal to -8, which is, that is your ordinary pair. 0, -8, 7, 4, -1, 3, 4. So question with how to complete this chart, how to complete this table. Any questions so far? So let me ask you guys to attempt this item. Let me ask you guys to do C. Let me ask you to see if you can do C. Let me eliminate the A and B. So see if you can do problem C. Find the missing value. Again, hopefully you guys see that this is very redundant. You know, all of the problem for this linear equation is very redundant because you always have some x and some y equal to some number. So if let's do this together, which is if I plug in -3, do you agree that 2 times -3 is -6? To get rid of -6, I need to add 12 plus 6 to give me 18 divided by 3, which is 18 divided by 3, I have 6, which is your y. And if I plug in 1 for y, if I plug in 1 for y, and like I say, the hardest thing, the hardest thing is make sure you plug the right number for the right corresponding letter. So I plug in 1 for -3, or for y, I have 3 times 1 is still 3. And then I want to get rid of this 3. And to get rid of this 3, I need to subtract to give me 2x equal to 9. And how do I get rid of the 2? I need to divide, and 9 divided by 2 is just 9 divided by 2, or 4.5. And again, that is my answer, 9 over 2, or 4.5 is fine. And lastly, if I plug in -6, 2 times -6 to give me -12, please do not jump the gun. I don't know if you guys do that during your test or your quiz, but if in the perfect world, I would give you a piece of paper on your test and you write it and you give it back to me. But a lot of my previous students, they saw a -12 and a +12 on the other side. They say it's cancel. Remember, you have to move it to the other side. And if you move to the other side, you have to add the 12. In this case, you have 3y equal to 24. The 12 and the -12, they are across from the equal sign, so you do not cancel them out. And to get rid of this 3, we divide. And again, hopefully you guys have this your answer as in -3, 6, 9 over 2, comma 1, and -6, comma 8. So question on, hopefully all of you guys have fill in this table. All of you guys have this answer because we did harder problem than this, right? We did solve another equation that is harder than this, and we're able to solve it. This one here is just a few, 3 steps. Plug in, move on the other side, divide. Plug in, move to the other side, divide, right? If you look at this, it's all redundant, right? Move it by either adding or subtraction and divide. Move it either adding or subtraction, divide, okay? So question here, would A, B, or C, or in terms of this item, C? Any question with C here? So if you don't have question, let's do 3.2. And 3.2, the only thing extra that we need to do in 3.2 is they mentioned this item, which is what you've been doing, A, B, and C, is you doing or you solving this linear equation. And the linear equation AX plus BY equal to C, meaning A, B, and C is some constant, some number multiplied to X plus some number times Y equal to some number. That's your equation, and that is your standard form. And we've been doing this for the past 3 examples. That is your linear equation. The only thing new in 3.2 is this, ladies and gentlemen, is they will give you this equation. You have to find the value, and the only thing different is now after you find the value, you have to plug it in to your Cartesian rectangular coordinate system. So let's take a look at this example. They ask you to graph this linear equation. So they give you this option here, graph this linear equation by finding 3 ordered pair. So for me, if they give you the option, for me, just to keep it consistent of what we had before, if they force you, if they give you the number, then you just plug in whatever number that they give you and find the missing one. But if they give you the option to pick 3 ordered pair, for me, this is what I like to pick. I would like to pick 0 diagonal. I like to pick the Y0 and the X0. Why? Because if I plug in 0, anything times 0 is just 0. Okay, so for me, if they give me the option, if they give me the number, I'm forced. There's nothing I can do. But if they give me the option to pick, like they just say pick 3 odd and pair, then if I have an option, I like to pick 0 here and 0 here. And this thing will help us to, when we get to 3.23, it will help us a lot. But for now, if they ask you, and the last one, you just pick whatever you want. It doesn't matter what number, but because I look at my equation, is all even, so I pick another even number to make it a little bit easier, that I might not deal with a decimal or a fraction, okay? But this number, if they ask you to choose, you could choose any number you want, okay? So once you choose your number, now everybody see that it's back to 3.1. How do I find a missing value? To find a missing value, this is my equation, negative 2x plus 4y equal to 0. So all equal to 8. So all I need to do is plug in 0 for y. And the reason why I choose 0, because 4 times 0 is just 0. It's disappear. And that's the easiest point to choose, 0 diagonal. And now I have negative 2x equal to 8. How do I get negative 2? I need to divide by negative 2. Therefore, my odd and pair will be negative 4, comma 0. And now I plug in 0 for my x. And if I plug in 0 for my x, negative 2 times 0 will disappear. And now I can divide it by 4, and y is equal to 2, which is my odd and pair is 0, comma 2. And lastly, I plug in 2 for my x, negative 2 times 2 to give me negative 4. And how do I get rid of the negative 4? Well, to get rid of that negative 4, I need to add. Therefore, I have 4y equal to 12. How do I get rid of the 4 in front of the y? I need to divide. And if I divide, everybody see that my y is equal to 3. So we did not do anything new. This thing is what we did in 3.1. The only thing new that they ask you in 3.2 is now, let's say that we have this x and y axis. And now all we need to do is, where is your negative 4, 0? Well, negative 4 tell me to go to the left, negative 4. 0 tell me to stay put. Do you agree that negative 4, 0 is that location, that dot? And where's my 0, 2? Well, 0 tell me to stay in the center. 2 tell me go up, right? My y tell me go up. And where is my 2, comma 3? 2, comma 3. And again, once again, the number is supposed to be on the line. Each line is one number. This is number 1, this is number 2, and this is number 3. So it's not the middle. It's not the middle is your number. Your number, the line is your number, okay? So looking at this thing here, question on how did I take this odd and pair? Because they ask you to graph, I take this odd and pair, which is again, negative 4, 0. That's my negative 4, 0. 0, 2, this is my 0, 2. And 2, comma 3, this is my 2, comma 3. And now once you have the 3 point, all you need to do is connect the dot, which is you draw your line. And if you draw your line, which is your line will connect the 3 dots together, and your line will always be straight, ladies and gentlemen. You won't have any curve. You don't have any parabola or anything like that. Your line is a linear, which is a straight line, which is go through all of your points. And I believe on your homework, they only have 2 points. You only click on this point, click on another point, they automatically draw the line for you. But the only thing, hopefully you guys see that the only thing new in 3.2 is after you fill in your table. After you fill in your table, you have to plug that table. You have to take that table value and plug it into your rectangular coordinate system or your X and Y coordinate plane, okay? So question in terms of how I find, like I say, your first number, you have to pick some first number. A lot of students say, can I pick negative 1, 0, 1 for my X? Fine, that's fine. If you want to, you can pick those. But sometimes the number negative 1 and 1, because of your data is not your data, your problem is all even. If you click the odds, sometimes it might not work. because you might have a decimal and you have to guess it between what number, you know, so sometimes that will be the case, but most of the time zero diagonal will work. You cannot choose zero horizontal because zero vertical, because zero vertical will give you the same ordinal pair, it will not give anything. So it's either zero diagonal this way or zero diagonal this way, okay? Let's try one more and then we can pause for today. Let's take a look at this item. Same thing go. They ask you to graph this linear equation. And to graph this linear equation, and they don't give you any ordinal pair. They basically tell you find any 3 ordinal pair. And if they ask you or if they tell you find any ordinal pair, any 3 ordinal pair, you know, 0, 0, those are the must. You know, that's the easiest number to choose. 0, 0 diagonal should be the 2 ordinal pair that you want to pick all the time. Because when you plug in 0, whatever that number, whatever that letter is, it just disappear. Okay. And this number, you can choose for X or Y. I just choose for X. And small advice for you guys: if you have a fraction, if you see that you have a fraction, when you choose an X, choose the multiple of that denominator. For instance, if this is 1/7, my X I want to choose will be 7 or 14 or 23. If it's 1/4, then my X I want to choose will be 4, 8, 12, 20, something in the multiple of that denominator, because the multiple of the denominator, they will cancel out. And that's why I did not choose two here, but rather I choose 3. Okay, so basically whatever the denominator, you want to choose the multiple of that. So in this case, I choose 3. So looking at this item, as you can see, I plug in 0 for my Y. That will be disappear. My problem will be 0 equal to 1/3 X equal to 5. How do I get rid of the 5? Well, I add them. If 5, -5 or subtract 5, I need to add them. And when I add them, my new problem is 5 equal to 1/3X. How do I get rid of the 3? I need to multiply, because the 3 on the denominator and the 3 on the numerator, they cancel out. And if I multiply 3 on the left, I need to multiply 3 on the right, or vice versa. I multiply on the right, I need to multiply on the left. In this case, I have 3 times 5 is equal to 1x, but 1x is basically an x. So I know that the first value I have is 15. I should not choose that number, because if you look at my graph, I don't have 15, but just assume that there is a 15 somewhere out here, okay? And I plug in the 0 for the x, and life is good, because 1/3 of 0 is equal to 0, right? Which is now my Y is by itself. I have -5, I'm done. Similarly, if I plug in the 3 for the x, do you agree that 1/3 of 3, 1/3 of 3, or this 3 and this 3, they cancel out, which left you with just 1. 1/3 of 3 is equal to 1. 1 minus 5 will give you -4. So my ordinal pair is 15, 0, 0, -5, and 3, 4. Where is 15, 0? Well, 15 tell me go to the right. 15, imagine that this is 15. 0 tell me to stay put, is on the x-axis. 0, -5 tell me go 0, stay there. -5 go down 5 slot, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And where is 3, -4? 3, -4 should be right here. And as you can see, your line is just a straight line through that dot. And that's all that you need to do in the sense of graphing this linear equation. You just need to pick 3 points, any 3 points you want to pick, plug it in, just pick either the X or the Y. Don't pick X and Y together. Pick either X or Y, meaning again, at one slot, you pick one number. Don't pick 2 number horizontal, okay? Question with this particular problem here. Question on how to find the missing value and how to plug in your table into your Cartesian or your rectangular coordinate system. Well, if you don't have questions, ladies and gentlemen, let's stop here for today. I'm running out of time.